What's up, fight fans? Thank you so much for coming through once again for another video. I really do appreciate it. Remember, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Very quick video, but I want your honest opinions on this video. Leave your comments below, thumbs up if you can. I'm going to respond to every single comment because I'm very interested to see where people are with your thinking on this one. Alright, so you know the title of the video, Bernard Hopkins TBE. I didn't really mean TBE. Obviously, you kind of know where I'm going with it. I don't think Hopkins is the best ever. But the guy that claims he is the best ever, I've always thought that he is probably the best fighter of this generation. And I say probably because there's a couple of fighters within that argument. One fighter that definitely is in the argument is Bernard Hopkins, the executioner, the alien. Ryan, who I used to do box talk with, is probably the biggest Bernard Hopkins fan there is. And it's taken me a while to appreciate the greatness. But I think watching McGregor versus Mayweather on Saturday evening or Sunday morning has made me almost appreciate Hopkins even more. I didn't think I could go any further in my appreciation of this man, but it has for a number of reasons. The first one, the glaring one, was, look, I think guys in the lower weight class, as they get older, someone like Mayweather, remember Mayweather started out as what? What did Mayweather start at? 126, 130? But guys in that lower weight class, your career isn't as long. 100%, it's not as long. It's just the way it is. You have to cut weight, there's smaller guys, and that takes its toll on your body. The fights are harder. Predominantly they're 12 rounds. You don't get as many knockouts as you do in the higher weight classes. So understandably, they're longer. But Mayweather at 40, albeit a couple of years out the ring, looked like his legs were gone, to say the least. I think, let's be honest, I hate to say it. I know he was boxing a different style of fight. I know that's not his normal style. But against a novice, he looked rusty, he looked gone. And I think a lot of people alluded to it, that thank God he's retiring. I think many people, Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith, I think a few other people as well, Terry Atlas, thank God that's it. Because if he was in there against a Spencer, Thurman, everyone's saying he probably would have got stopped and beaten for the first time ever. Now, in saying all that, Bernard Hopkins was killing people at 43, 44. And not once did I think his legs were gone. Like, literally, it's dawned on me now that 40 is very, very old for boxing. It's very old, very old. Hopkins was destroying legit guys from 40 upwards. Literally, his resume looks better from 40 upwards. And it made me think, have we got it wrong? Is the real best fighter of this generation actually Hopkins and not Mayweather? I mean, I think Hopkins thinks so. That's why every time Hopkins does an interview and mentions Mayweather, there's always a bit of a sting in his voice, right? He's always a bit bitter. Well, I used to think he's bitter, but sometimes I think he thinks, no, Mayweather, you're not. Mayweather, you're a ducker. You duck fights. And look, I'm not going to get into that argument, but the one thing people have said about Mayweather over the years is that he ducks fights. He doesn't take fights at the right time. I think that's very difficult. I think most people do it. But you look at Bernard Hopkins and you think, this is a guy that clearly doesn't duck. There will be losses on that record. The reason there are losses is because this guy simply does not duck. I don't think I've ever... I'm trying to think of a Mayweather fight where he's not been favourite to win. Oscar odds would have been close. I think Mayweather would have been favourite to win that, but it would have been close. Earlier in his career, I can't think of one where Mayweather, Corrales would have been close, but I think Mayweather would have been favourite to win that as well. I can't think of a fight that Mayweather's not been favourite to win. And that's not a slight on Mayweather. That almost means that all the wins he has, expected to get them, right? Again, that's not being disrespectful, but every time he's got in the ring and fought, it would have been an upset if he lost. The same can't be said of Hopkins. I think people maybe might forget Hopkins was the underdog against Trinidad. Trinidad was a 5-1 favourite or something ridiculous like that against Trinidad. We saw what happened. He was the underdog against Pavlik. He was the underdog against Calzaghe, a fight that I thought he might have sneaked. He was the massive underdog against Tava. These are big, big fights that he has gone into the fight as an underdog and somehow prevailed. And I don't know if he gets appreciation for that as much as he should. I think sometimes people might look at the losses, maybe the Jermaine Ten loss, which I thought was a very, very close fight, especially the second one. In fact, I thought he won the second fight. People need to look at what Hopkins has done in his legacy and really start to make the argument as to whether he is TBE for this generation. I mean, 20 title defenses as a middleweight. I mean, even when he lost to Jermaine Taylor, what did he do? We went up 2 weight classes and beat up Tava. Then he had a couple of defenses, then fought the unbeaten Joe Calzaghe. Lost to that. What did he do? Give me Kelly Pavlik. You know, this guy fought Sergey Kovalev at 50 years old. That's almost akin to Mayweather, I think, facing GGG at 154 or a killer at 147. It's almost like him saying, give me Furman right now. He wouldn't do that. Let's be honest, he wouldn't do that. I think there's an argument to be had. I really do think there's an argument to be had when all is said and done. You look at their records and look at when they fought the person they fought. Not just the names. I think people get too carried away of looking at the names, because I could reel off all superstar names that Mayweather fought. You know, Hatton, Cotter. You go back and forth back. But if you look at that record and say, okay, did he fight that person when that person was that person? If that makes any sense. Did he fight them when they were the man? Like, did he fight Cotter when Cotter was fresh to 147 and was just a killer at 147? Not really. Did he fight Mosley? No. Oscar De Hoyt? No. When you really break it down, again, this is not discrediting Mayweather. I think Mayweather is arguably one of the best fighters of this generation and one of the top 15, 20 of all time. But when I look at it, I look at what Hopkins did, fighting Calzaghe unbeaten at the time, coming up. Yes, Calzaghe was coming to light heavyweight, but still unbeaten, fresh. Kelly Pavlik was just a knockout artist, favourite to knock him out, beat him. Trinidad, who just beat William Joppy in their little series they done in the middleweight tournament, came up, beat him like nothing. Fighting Kovalev at 50. It goes on and on. Tava, after losing to Jermaine Taylor, jumped 2 weight classes to fight Tava. Then the call-outs, calling out Carl Froch, calling out David Hay at heavyweight. There's something to be said for that. Mayweather will, I think, undoubtedly go down as one of the best, but never took a risk for me. Never ever took a risk. When you think of taking a risk, never took it. There was a time 3 years ago I was begging for him to fight GGG at 154. That kind of risk. That kind of risk. It just cements you as like, yeah, done. Didn't do it. We got Maidana, we got Andre Berto. And now we got Conor McGregor. Chad Dawson. I didn't forget, he fought, this is Bernard Hopkins, for the way. Chad Dawson fought a hungry John Pascal. Again, you might think these are not superstar names, but he's fighting them when they're still in their peak. Not when they've had a loss and they're damaged or coming off a defeat. Fighting them when they're at their peak. No excuses. No weight draining. Bringing them at their weight class. Fighting them. Lots to be said about Hopkins, and I think with my boxing brain, when I really break it down, Hopkins, I think, has the better resume to Mayweather, and for that reason, Hopkins is the TBE of this generation without a doubt. Like, seriously, without a doubt. To think that he made his debut on a loss. You losing your debut, that's it really, isn't it? Crazy. Crazy. Fought Roy Jones Jr. Yes, he lost to Roy Jones Jr. in his first fight. Fought Roy Jones, the Roy Jones in 1993. Nah, I'm done. Stop it.